Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Ugly is the best way to describe what's going on in Ukraine right now. That we do know. Then all of a sudden, you've got a changing of the guard when it comes to the new military commander. So remember, a couple weeks ago, the other guy disappeared, had heart issues, whatever it was. Now we got a new guy cruising in.
Putin has appointed a new military commander to oversee this Russian attack and invasion on Ukraine. General Alexander Dvornikov is known for his brutality when he led Russia's intervention in Syria. What does his appointment tell you about Putin's strategy moving forward?
What we have learned in the first several weeks of this war is that Ukraine will never be subjugated to Russia. It doesn't matter which general Putin tries to appoint. But this particular general has a resume that includes a brutality against civilians in other theaters in Syria, and we can expect more of the same.
More of the same. That's right. More of the same. More of the same. That's exactly what it is. Now it is about bleeding them out. Now it is about making this thing brutal. Now it is about destruction and crushing, making them want to tap out, which isn't going to happen. But everybody knows what's coming next.
We are expecting them to be back and again targeting the capital.
Yeah. It's Klitschko there. The great boxing brothers, who is the mayor of Kyiv. They expect him to come back. We expect this thing to continue for quite a long time. Quite a long time. And we know what's coming. At some point in time, there are going to be issues when it comes to war crimes because they are being committed on a daily basis.
War crimes are in fact being committed because what we're seeing, which is outlawed, is attacks upon civilian population. We're seeing footage of men, whether they're combatants or not, being summarily executed. We're seeing footage of civilian structures being bombed. All that is outside of the rules of the laws of war and normal warfare.
Yeah, all of that. We know exactly what's going on. They are fighting, and we have talked to, Mike Lyons, our military analyst, he'll be on later on in the week, but, he's fighting their 20th century war in the 21st century, right? Even at times the 19th century war, where it's about brutality, it's about destruction, it is not about denazification, it is not about anything other than breaking everything you can see in front of you, destroying everything you can see. Because that is what he has chosen to do. On the other side, Zelensky, the exact opposite. Ukrainian people, the exact opposite. They're staying, they're fighting, they're putting up a fight like you could not believe. When in many cases, leaders would have bounced.
When everyone is telling you you need to go, you need to think.
What did you tell your wife and children about your decision?
I told them this is my choice. I'm the president of my country. I'm the president of our people. Even if I wasn't president, I would have stayed here. My family understood, not only understood, but fully supported my decision.
You had made a decision to give your life for your country if it came to that.
I love my family. I want to live many more years. But choosing between running or being with my people, of course I'm ready to give my life for my country.
That is awesome. That is. Over the weekend, Boris showed up. Boris Johnson of England. Hello, Boris Johnson here. Showed up. Thought it would be cojones enough if Biden would have made, when he was over there, some sort of move to meet with him. That did not happen. But this is going to get very interesting in the coming days and weeks because, once again, as I try to explain to people over the weekend, this war compared to other things going on out there, and there are several civil wars and de facto wars being fought, places like Yemen, we've got Iran and Saudi Arabia and several others that are fighting inside of a country. The reality is this war has an absolute 100% effect on everything, including those wars. The grain issue is massive. People don't realize the vegetable and cooking oil that comes out of there. in both the Ukraine and Russia is huge. So we're headed for a nightmare in certain parts of the globe where, you know what, we're blessed. We're a Western country that can do things that others just can't do. And because of that, we'll be fine. Doesn't mean things won't be more expensive. Doesn't mean that there might not be some shortages of things. But for a lot of other people, that shortage is going to be huge. And then on our side, let's talk about the nightmare of inflation, because it's real.
A recession, is it inevitable or is there a way to avoid it?
Nothing is inevitable or certain in economics. The painful fact, though, is that historically, when we've had inflation above 4 and we've had unemployment below 4, essentially always since World War II, that's been followed by a recession within the next 2 years.
Yeah. And I think we're going to get that much, much, much sooner. That is going to come much sooner. You've got now, I believe it was the Bank of America, Deutsche Bank, several large economists, as well as traders that are institutional traders who trade massive amounts of money in big funds, are expecting a large slowdown across the board, not just in one sector, but across the board, that is going to take us to a mild recession, potentially two, a year apart. They're expecting the end of this year into early next year, maybe first quarter only, to be mild. Unemployment around 5.5 or 6, not where it's at now. And same thing for 2024. So we're not seeing 2008 when the whole world collapsed, but we are going to see some issues here that are going to be very real. And that's something that we have to understand is coming. And this is all also predicated on, we have no idea what's going to take place in Ukraine in the next 6 days, 6 weeks, or 6 months, which could throw everything sideways. And not just the bad way. Potentially something happens to Putin. Cooler, calmer heads prevail. Potentially gets much worse, and we're all dragged into something that is awful. We do not know what's coming. And that will play a part in all of this as well. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. And if you don't think people feel it, for all the stuff we've gone to, let's remember this. 2 years ago, it was, we're closing up shop. Everybody, you're home. If you can work from home, great. If not, the government's sending you a bunch of money. And you can't kick anybody out. And then slowly but surely, places started to reopen, never at full capacity. Places were struggling to get supplies. The supply chain went sideways. But what you started to see was after the PPE, the PPE loans went away and all that kind of stuff, you started to see people struggle. Because the reality is once the government wasn't there to prop stuff up, because they have taken things to such a place where people were able to survive mostly because of government. And when they reopen it up, it is too tough for a lot of them to survive. I'm seeing it here. Across the country, people are feeling it.
Sad day for us and our customers. We really tried our best, but with the rising cost of eggs and milk and meat, it was getting to a point where less people were dining out the last 3-4 months, which took our sales down 50%, and then 30 to 50% increase in product. It got to a point where it was kind of a no-brainer for my husband and I to say now's the time to start over and try to regroup.
Yeah, absolutely. Try to regroup. That's a business decision. And this is where I think it's going to hit the places like that, cafes, small areas of much smaller single businesses, but in particular small restaurants. It's because what's the first thing you're going to cut out? I mean, if we all looked at our bank account at the end of the month, we realized, God, how much money do we spend eating out? Way too much. I know I'm guilty of it. And if people are going to cut back in the, places, that's going to be one of the places. It's going to be getting that coffee. You know what? Make coffee at home. I'll have a toast or a bagel at home. It's going to be going out for that lunch. It's going to be going. Now, you may still go out once a week, once every couple weeks. But once a day, that's the thing that's going to suffer first. And that small business is going to pay for it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the show, program, whatever the hell you want to call it. Hope you had a good weekend. I had a great weekend of doing nothing. Watched some golf. I would say probably 30 hours of it. Watched a lot of golf. From last Thursday till yesterday, I was glued to golf. We'll talk about that. Scottie Scheffler, the winner of the Masters. He's got a green jacket. Arguably tougher to find a nicer human being who is not too many guys at this level you see that humble. A lot of stuff to get to, including immigration. The battle continues, and wait till you hear Mayorkas, because you just shake your head. You think, sweet mother of goodness, what the hell are you talking about? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Here's your Twitter and your Instagram. CarShield, 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. So let's just say you get the shop, right? You choose that shop yourself, not the shop that they want to send it to. Top of that, they're going to give you a rental car for free. Oh, they got that 24/7 roadside assistance. And if you need car share or something like that, they're going to reimburse you for all of those things. Over 1 million people have trusted CarShield. I trust it on my cars. Why not trust it on yours? You'd be foolish not to. With the rising prices of stuff, the rising prices of labor, why not be with the best? Over 1 million people believe so. Why not be one of those 1 million people? Protect yourself now with CarShield. That's what I want you to do. CarShield.com/Benson. Or call 800-391-8888. You're going to save 10% on your plan. Plus, you're going to lock in your forever pricing. So your pricing will never go up from there. That's carshield.com/Benson. Or call 800-391-8888 to save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
It's been a tough road, and one that I'm very thankful to have had the opportunity to be able to grind through it. A lot of different things could have happened, but 14 months I'm able to tee it up and play in the Masters.
That's right. Tiger Woods played well the first two rounds, struggled. Well, everybody struggled the third round. Third round was one of those days where you had one guy shoot well, two guys shoot okay, but by and large, I mean, if you were shooting 74, 75, which is 2-3 over, you were about average for the day. Yesterday, different story. He ran out of gas. You could tell he was tired. The Masters is one of those tournaments. First of all, the pressure. I mean, he had 40,000 people following him on his practice round. He's out there practicing. And on Saturday even, Scottie Scheffler's the leader of the tournament, number one player in the world. And he is basically playing with Charles Schwartzel, a guy that's already won the tournament back in, I think, 2011. And they've got a little crowd, but nothing like Tiger. So the pressure was real. He came back. He's already committed. He's going to play in the British Open. But it was a hell of a thing to see. And you could see the limp. And the Masters is one of those tournaments, too, where the course is massively hilly. Unless you've been at a place where you sit down and you're like, it's like if you've ever been to a NASCAR event, you don't realize what that track's like until you see from below, oh, my God, that thing is steep, those turns. It's the kind of thing with the Masters, how steep it is. On the other side of it, you had a guy named Scottie Scheffler who, till this year, has been a hell of a golfer. Top 20 golfer. Never won anything. Still young, only 25. Married his high school sweetheart. Super, super faith-driven. Going into Saturday, he was starting to feel it. By Saturday night, he knew he had a big lead heading into Sunday. And they asked him, how'd you feel?
This morning was a totally different story. I cried like a baby this morning. I was so stressed out. I didn't know what to do. I was sitting there. I was telling Meredith, I was like, I don't think I'm ready for this. I'm not ready. I don't feel like I'm ready for this kind of stuff. And I just felt overwhelmed.
Yeah, overwhelmed. Overwhelmed was it. Said faith was in God. His wife told him, look, who cares if you go out and shoot an 82? God will use it for us. Now the number one player in the world, won 4 of his last 6 tournaments. He's over almost about $11 million in winnings, just in winnings this year. But here's the interesting thing. What shoes did he have on? Tiger Woods. What shirt did he have on? Tiger Woods. Nike design. With TW. Shows you the impact that Tiger had and still does. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. A lot of stuff still to get to cram in. Mayorkas, we're going to talk a little bit of insanity, and I think it's the best thing. I'm just going to give you a taste.
And that is what it is all about. It is all about achieving equity, which is really the core founding principle of our country. And as we continue to review the policies and make the changes that drive to achieve equity, we have to be very mindful of the landscape on which we are working.
Department of Homeland Security, the guy that runs the border, essentially, he's talking about equity. The hell does that even mean? We're going to dive deep into this. A lot of other stuff, too. Elon Musk says, you know what? No, I don't think I want to do the board thing. And Jesse Smollett has got a new song out. It is awful, as you would expect it to be. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
It's all about equity. Equity. Title 42. You guys know what that is? That's going away. Essentially, it was put in when Trump was president. CDC put it in, saying, hey, look, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Cannot have people coming across the border willy-nilly in the middle of a pandemic while screaming at everybody over here. You need to stay inside, run, hide. We just can't have that. We can't. And so Title 42 has been in effect. And what Title 42 does, it allows a person that comes over here to, within 15 minutes, they're sent back. See, sorry, you can't come here. Title 42. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Got to turn around, go back. Now, if during a regular time, even if they send you back, it could take up to 2 hours. And they're not sending people back. You and I both know that. The administration has ignored the Remain in Mexico policy, even though it's been upheld by the Supreme Court. Now Title 42 is going to go away, which is the right thing to do, but the wrong timing because there's no plan. Mayorkas, the other day on Title 42.
When Title 42 is lifted, it could mean up to 18,000 more migrants every day. How is the department preparing to deal with it?
It's very difficult to predict what that migration will be. We are then at the border surging resources. What distinguishes us from the past is the fact that we will not implement policies of cruelty that disregard our asylum laws.
But do you acknowledge you're likely going to see a surge?
We very well could.
Yeah, very well could, which you are going to have. That's just it. And again, no plan.
Does the president have any plans to figure out what these small towns who are bracing for a major influx in migrants next month need by making his first ever trip to the border?
I have nothing to predict for you in terms of additional trips. The president will be traveling the country, but I don't have any more specifics for you at this point.
Yeah. She is just ready to go to NBC or MSNBC or wherever they're sticking her. So no plan whatsoever. Title 42 going away. Democrats, even Democrats, are saying, all right, look, we can't have this. We can't sunset this. We can't allow it to expire without something behind. There's got to be a plan. You have to have a plan. Why don't you have a plan? No plan. Zero plan. Don't worry, Mayorkas has a plan. It's about equity.
And that is what it is all about. It is all about achieving equity, which is really the core founding principle of our country. And as we continue to review the policies and make the changes that drive to achieve equity, we have to be very mindful of the landscape on which we are working.
Equity is not what it's about. Sorry, it's not. It's not. It's not about, the last guy was a meanie. Look, I didn't agree with taking kids away from their parents. I didn't. I was very outspoken about it. Would be to this day. Did not agree with it. Was more made of it than it should have been? Absolutely. 100%. Became a massive nightmare. Now remember this. There are people out there, a large majority of people in parts of these countries, who send these children on their own with coyotes. So let's not just, oh my God, how will they survive? And that's stop. Stop with the equity too. None of that makes sense. No, this isn't a quota thing. This is doing the right thing. You have zero plans to do anything about this. You are an open border. That's what you are. Your administration says, hey, Biden equals open border.
We are working at a time when we are seeing only an increase in hate. And what we in the Department of Homeland Security have assessed is that the greatest terrorism-related threat that we face in the homeland is the threat of domestic violent extremism. Individuals drawn to violence because of ideologies of hate or false narratives propagated on social media.
Where? Just show me. Oh, Chad, but what about this one? Show me where. It's like, show me all the Nazis hiding everywhere, the white nationalists everywhere. Show me all the stuff where you can't go outside as a human being because the rise of violence. This isn't about that. We can all agree those people suck. Are there some of those people? Yes. Are they the big boogeyman that everybody makes them out to be? No. I always tell you, go to a Klan rally. Go. See how many people show up there in the 8 people in their pickup trucks. And then show me the counter protest of hundreds of people. Stop changing the subject. The subject is you have zero plan for the border outside of letting everybody in. Up to 18,000 a day? Are you kidding me? You're not even trying. You're not. You're a mess. You're an absolute mess. And people are hearing that saying, hey, guys, that Mayorkas guy who's running everything says it's all about equity. Get yourself down there. Now's your free Go to America card. Now's your free Go to America, claim asylum, get it in a phone. You're going to go into the country, and you can throw the phone away if you want. Get a new phone. Nobody cares. They're not going to track you. Oh, that's supposed to be tracking, but you can just throw it away. Zero plans. So plan to fail. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Let's change subject from another disaster to another disaster to another disaster. We'll start with Juicy Smollett, or Juicy Smollett. He's got a new song out because he's just awesome.
They had my own people, thoughts going off the wall. That's why from LD to Don, I still got love for y'all. I know we'll meet again, talk like real men, instead of sharing shaded rooms and up on CNN. Thunder's mad loud, still I'm pushing through the clouds. All I ever really wanted to do was make my people proud. Fame is nothing real, it's how you make them feel. Celebrity is for the birds, I ain't no man of steel.
Good God. Yeah. I just talk about delusion, equity for people coming over here, and then delusion in Juicy Smollett. This is the world we live in, the surreal world. He's not done. He's going to keep it real, guys.
But I want to thank y'all. I know I still got you. It's for the people who kept it real, kept it true. Like, let me phrase that, cuz the narrative they played, I really overstand the reason why y'all felt betrayed. You think I'm stupid enough to keep my reputation? Just simply to look like a victim, like it's something fun. I better look at someone else, you got the wrong one.
So he kept it real. He's not stupid enough to do it again. I mean, to do anything like that to his reputation. Still living the dream of, oh, yeah, you don't worry about that. I was totally framed. Yeah, he wrote those guys a check, but that was for weights. My goodness me. Always go back to this, right? Are they out looking for the real attackers? Or was it the two Nigerian guys who were just friends with him, decided to come after him, and he gave him a check? Or just like with OJ. Have you noticed that nobody ever figured out who killed Goldman and Nicole Simpson, right? No, they never got the killer. Do you think they're out looking for him? No, I think they know who the killer probably was. And at this point, it's just, we're leaving it at that. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. So last week, Twitter gets a new board member, kind of, sort of. Elon Musk buys 9.2% of the company. They said, all right, we're going to welcome you to the board. And he says, you know what, I'll take you up on that. I'll become a board member, but it's so fast.
In a late tweet Sunday, Twitter CEO said Elon Musk's appointment to the board was to become officially effective on April 9th, but Musk shared that he would not be joining the board of directors. The head of Tesla recently became Twitter's largest shareholder and followed with tweets suggesting changes he'd like to see on the social media platform. There was no explanation for the decision, but the belief that having Musk, quote, as a fiduciary of the company, where he, like all board members, has to act in the best interest of the company and all our shareholders, was the best path forward.
Yeah. Translation. Now, that's what they'll say. Oh, it's a fiduciary, this, that, and the other. But the speculation from people who kind of get this stuff looks around and says, well, hold on a second. You can only own about 14.2% of the company if you're a board member. If you're not a board member, you can buy up everything. Translation, is he going to launch a hostile takeover bid? Is he going to launch a bid to buy up as many shares as possible and take Twitter over? That's very interesting. Do I think it's a possibility? I don't know if he'd do it by himself. Not that he couldn't. He could easily do it. Write him a check today. I wouldn't be surprised if the likes of Peter Thiel and a few other conservatives who have money, who are younger and look at this stuff, don't jump on board and say, you know what? We've tossed around the idea as well. So maybe we should. It's very interesting, though, because you can only own so much as a board member. And, you know, Twitter, they're trying to figure out, is this guy going to go out and slowly but surely buy up another 5%, then another 10%, then another 4%. And then all of a sudden you look up in a couple weeks and he's got close to controlling amounts of stock and percentage in the company. And then, what happens there? We'll find out. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Tweet at us. Do you think Twitter has the cojones to close his account? I'd like to see that. Wouldn't it be funny if Elon Musk has been kicked off Twitter, then Elon Musk buys Twitter and puts himself back on Twitter? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Text the program. Rough Greens, ruffgreens.com/Chad. You go there. What do you get? You get a free bag of Rough Greens. It's the best supplement I've ever given my dog. In fact, I got a text the other day from a gentleman who wanted to thank me for Rough Greens. I'm like, don't thank me. Thanks, Rough Greens. It's them. They're the ones. Said his dog's 9 years old, runs around like it's a puppy. And I love to hear that. Your dog can do the exact same. And right now you can try it for free. It's got vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9. You will love what it does for your dogs. It's done wonders for my older dog. It'll do the same for yours. Try it now for free. Cover the cost of shipping. That's all you have to do. ruffgreens.com/Chad. ruffgreens.com/Chad. Or call 833-MyDog77, 833-MyDog77. You cover the cost of shipping. You're going to get a bag for free. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
Will Smith's punishment for slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars?
Oh, wow!
A 10-year ban from any events put on by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. That includes the Oscars. The Academy Board of Governors met Friday to finalize the consequences after Will Smith resigned his membership in the Academy last week. A letter from Academy President David Rubin and CEO Don Hudson says they hope the move will help restore trust in the Academy and begin a time of healing.
First of all, again, I go back to who needs to be healed. I do not know who needs to be healed. It's like, we need to be healed over this. Because I know there was a lot of people who are like, I am traumatized. I'm like, by watching a guy get slapped? Will Smith has killed thousands of people throughout TV and, well, mostly in movies, right? Just all kinds of shooting aliens and blowing things up and fighting zombies and killing. So the slap shouldn't be traumatizing. Was 10 years worth it? Yeah, I guess. I mean, he thought it was worth it. But I'm telling you what, give her 10 years. She is awful. The more I read about her, the more that you hear, man, she's just awful. The fact that he takes it is amazing. It is. Like, he's got to look at her and go, can I have him back? I'm going to go out for dinner. Just in case I need him. Just in case I need him. You never know. Little Mickey Mouse there. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Oh, my goodness. He's back.
This is not going to be eradicated, and it's not going to be eliminated. What's going to happen is that we're going to see that each individual is going to have to make their calculation of the amount of risk that they want to take. For me as an individual, for you as an individual, what is my age? What is my status? Do I have people at home who are vulnerable that if I bring the virus home, there may be a problem? So we're at that point where that we're going to have to live with some degree of virus in the community.
Of course. Have we, we've been saying that. We've been saying, I think we started calling this, I don't know, from about day 5. This thing's eventually going to be endemic. What the hell's endemic mean? That's Dr. Fauci, for those of you guys don't remember. They went and they found him. They're like, hey, look, there's a super spreader event that happened at the White House, and now there's a chance for you to come out and talk more about this stuff. And they give him a shot of, the vitamin B or whatever they give him, and he pops up and away he goes.
It's going to be a person's decision about the individual risk they're going to take. We don't want to poo-poo getting infected. I think people sometimes say, well, it's okay to get infected. No, it's not, because there are things like long COVID, and there are sometimes people, even though they don't require hospitalization, they get significantly ill. They may be at home, they may require a doctor consultation, but they don't get hospitalized. That's not something to poo-poo. Again, each individual will have to take their own determination of risk.
Yeah, and that's all anybody ever wanted to do, especially once we had the opportunity to go get the vaccine. That's all anybody want to do. Let me understand what my risk is and the level I have. And by the way, it may not be my risk. I may feel fine about something, but I may have somebody at home who cannot afford to get sick. And because of that, I'll have to step back from a lot of things I used to do. Also, it's not like these things are perfect. These shots are good at keeping you out of the hospital, good especially keeping people who are older and or have several comorbidities alive. That being said, they don't seem to be great at stopping it, very much like the flu shot, which is the way they should have rolled it out with. Too much was put into it as being the saving grace. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. If you missed any of said program, feel free to grab it on the old place where you get podcasts. I don't know where that is. Probably computer, maybe your phone as well. You can do that. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
What is coming, many people think, is going to be the most brutal part of the war. Miles-long convoys of Russian soldiers, tanks, artillery heading in. And the battle is about to get even more brutal, if that's possible, than before. And the Russians, read an article over the weekend where he is replenishing with basically anybody. Were you in the military? Great. You're back into this now. You're back here. Get ready. You're going. People are saying it's desperate. He feels very much the desperation of Hitler. Whoever can get out there and do it, that we don't have to train for hours and weeks and months. We need now. It's coming. It's coming fast, and they're getting ready.
Російські війська перейдуть до ще більш масштабних дій на сході нашої держави.
I speak Zelensky. Those SOBs is coming. You better be ready. We're going to kick them straight in the grundle. Then, when they think that they're done, we're going to kick them in the grundle again. We're going to kick their asses all the way back to Moscow. I don't know if that's what he said, but I feel like that's what he was trying to say. One of the other things that has happened, new commander, new bad dude in place, a guy that has a reputation of being a bad dude.
Putin has appointed a new military commander to oversee this Russian attack and invasion on Ukraine. General Alexander Dvornikov is known for his brutality when he led Russia's intervention in Syria. What does his appointment tell you about Putin's strategy moving forward?
What we have learned in the first several weeks of this war is that Ukraine will never be subjugated to Russia. It doesn't matter which general Putin tries to appoint. But this particular general has a resume that includes a brutality against civilians in other theaters in Syria, and we can expect more of the same.
I would like him to appoint General Malaise. How's it going today? It's all right. It's kind of going okay. Is it really bad or really good? Not really bothered. It's kind of going along. Doing our thing. Might take a nap soon. How was the war? Very, very peaceful. This guy's bad. He's not a good guy. That screams of desperation. Why? Because it feels desperate. It feels desperate for them. Now, all that being said, as we've talked about, is Putin really losing? Probably not. He's probably not losing. In fact, there's a good chance that Putin is doing exactly what Putin wants to do. Putin is winning. Oh, how is he winning, Chad? He's losing. Look, the shine is off the new machine, the Apple of Russia, which was this incredible fighting force. That shine is off. I don't think anybody in Europe's terrified of them if it comes to a conventional war. I think that shine is off. On the other hand, he still has nuclear weapons. He's got tons of support in Russia because they're getting force-fed crap all day. In fact, it's at the point now where they are having kids snitch on teachers if they say anything about the war that is negative. So think about that for a second. Anything that the war is being said about the war that is negative, the kids at school are going in and they're telling mom and dad, who in turn tells somebody, and then the next thing you know, you're arrested, you're fined, whatever ends up happening happens. But this offense that is coming is going to be big, and this is going to be another brutal. This is about body count for them. At home, though, we still got support. Almost coup-proof, if you think about it. I mean, realistically, I think the place where he would get himself in trouble when it comes to a coup or a takeover is if he decides to cross a nuclear line and one or two of his generals say, you're not going to do this. I think that's more of a threat than anything else at this point. He knows he's not getting his stuff back. He knows he's not getting his yachts back. He knows his oligarchs are in a little bit of trouble right now. He knows all of those things are taking place. But there's nobody with inside the Kremlin that has the power and the cojones enough at this moment in time to make a move. That would change, I think, if it became nuclear. But alas, and thank goodness, we are not at that point. But for Ukraine, it's about to get ugly.
What we're seeing is massive amounts of Russian forces moving east. Satellite imagery on social media as well. People who live in those regions have captured columns, endless columns of armor, tanks, artillery, vehicles, etc., moving east. Could take a while. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but it's clear that that's what Russia wants to do.
And that's what they're going to do. And they're preparing for it. Does he walk away with a good portion of the Donbass region? Does he walk away with that land bridge he wants? There's a good chance that may happen. Because at some point in time, I think Zelensky's going to say, look, we don't want to cede anything to this guy because we can't give away land. All that being said, I can't see tens of thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands of my people slaughtered, on top of the fact that up to, maybe 30 or 40% of my country may leave, many of them of childbearing years, especially the women, taking the children. And there's a chance they may never come back. I mean, we may fight to the death, and even if we survive, the road back would be nearly impossible. So who knows what's going to happen in the coming days and weeks and months and years, because this is not going to change anytime soon. I think this thing is going to be where it's at now for the next several months and potentially years. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Sad news today, kids. Kmart.
It's just sad. This used to be a real part of America, Americana, and it's gone away.
Yeah. Kmart is gone. I think they have 3 stores, from 2,000 stores to 3 stores. That's all they have left.
Kmart is a victim of serial incompetence with regard to its historical leadership. It's had a variety of folks running the business who were either not paying much attention to competition or attempting to do things which, frankly, resulted in the ultimate train wreck, which is bankruptcy.
Yeah. And, I mean, it is, as a kid growing up, I mean, the Blue Light Special, Kmart, I mean, jokes about it, but the reality is they were massive. They were massive. They were they were a part of Americana. They were part of something. Sears and Roebuck, Montgomery Wards, But in a day and age where you've got to realize you must adapt or die. Target came in, took a big bite out of them. They never adapted. From there, it just started to go south faster and faster. And then when you have people that come in and they try to compete at a level with some, this is the thing. You've got to learn to compete in a way where you're like, okay, I know my lane. I know what we're good at. We're going to have to bring it forward a little bit, but for us to try to get into other people's lanes that they're better at because we think we need to compete with them, it's going to cost us.
Everybody went to Kmart, whether you liked it or not. They had everything. You could go there. The men could go there for all, you had all the appliances, you had the tools. The women's had the children's clothes and the kids. Come on, you had toys, you had sporting goods, you had candy, you had stationery.
Yeah. And they tried to compete with Target. They were never going to compete with Walmart. But they had opportunities in places where they could have gone into places where they could have been a part of something and stayed strong, and they didn't. And now they're done. They're done and dusted. Part of Americana. Gone. Who buys up the name Kmart? I think there's 3 stores left, but somebody's going to come in and buy it up. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Inflation up. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to find out what's trending in the world of the interwebs as well. Love hearing from all of you. Calibrate. Losing weight. How important is it? Very important. Extremely important. Especially if you're overweight. So this is where Calibrate comes in. Calibrate is not like other diets. Oh, I've heard that before, Chad. No, it's not. What Calibrate does is something wholly different. It's about using FDA medication with actual reasonable plans and lifestyle changes that keep your weight off, and you lose it. One of the reasons is your metabolism's at a point now when you start to lose weight, it panics and thinks that you're starving, and so rather than help you lose the weight, it kills your metabolism. That's where the reset comes in. One-on-one video doctor visits, one-on-one coaching, video coaching. You're going to have an app where you can talk to other people and work with coaches. It's incredible. Right now, fits in anybody's lifestyle and losing weight big time. 15% on average. The earliest members of Calibrate's a crew that joined, that's their body fat they lost. That's huge. Try it now. Go to joincalibrate.com. Use code CHAD. Save $50 off a 1-year metabolic reset. JoinCalibrate.com. Use code CHAD to save. JoinCalibrate.com. Use code CHAD. Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending.
What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old intranet. What's trending?
Let's find out what's trending on the old interwebs of interwebs. Start first and foremost today at the Google lands, because Google's always fun. Masters, biggest trending things yesterday, last 24 hours. Scottie Scheffler, the winner. Liverpool, Manchester United played yesterday. Manchester City. It was 2-2. One of the biggest trending things in America. God, I love that. I love that. Marine Le Pen and Emmanuel Macron fight it out. Got the hard right, and you got Macron on the left. They battled it out, and they will have to go on to a runoff to find out who gets to run France and get all of the French fries. NBA playoffs, trending. That's right. Season is over. They have the play-in games. And from there, away it goes. Favorites this year are the Phoenix Suns, by far been the best team throughout the regular season. But as we all know in sports, kids, they play the games for a reason, so you never know. Head over to Twitter, where Twitter's always just being Twitter. You know how it is. Let's start with John Oliver. Apparently, he's threatened to blackmail congressmen with their own digital data. According to the Rolling Stone and his show, he has paid several nefarious groups to grab a bunch of data from Congress people, and unless they have a much better bill that's out there to protect people's data, he will not release this information. That usually does not go well for the person trying to blackmail to have a television show and say that. Herschel Walker did not show up for the first debate for his Senate race in Georgia. Don't know why he didn't show up, but he said he wasn't going to. So, not a win for him. A lot of people are questioning some of the stuff he said, saying how easy it is to find out some of the stuff is not true. Ooh, Elon Musk is trending because he is not going to sit on the board of Twitter, and that's a good reason for that. I think he is looking at it going, first and foremost, is this company really worth it? Don't know about that. Secondly, if I sit on the board, I am limited to what I can purchase. And in doing so, I may want to purchase more. And Finland and Sweden are trending because, yes, they said they may join NATO as soon as this summer, of which, guess who fired back? The pooter. You better not. Or what? This summer, you're still going to be fighting in Ukraine. And the fact that you're threatening makes people say, well, this is why we joined. This is why we joined. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. You know, we played Juicy Smollett last hour. Right? He's got his new rap out, because he's a victim, because of course he is. But he wants some sort of weird comeback. Speaking of comebacks, this guy thinks he can make one.
What is your message directly to them after the years that you have been off the field? What is your message to NFL teams?
That I can help make you a better team. I can help you win games. I know right now the situation likely won't allow me to come in and step into a starting role. I know I'll be able to work my way to that, though, and show that very quickly.
That's Colin Kaepernick. He wants to come back because, of course, he does. He's ready to come back. He's ready to make his debut. It's been several years since he's been out of the league. And, of course, obviously, he has risen to fame through his activism. And let's not forget, Colin Kaepernick opted out of his last contract. So he wasn't cut. He opted out because he thought he'd go into the free agent market and he'd get picked up. So he's had the opportunities to step away from the game on his own. Was he blackballed? Oh, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of that. Was there also a lot put into him being much better than he was? Oh, yeah, that's absolutely true. Could he play in the NFL? There was no doubt he could play. Is he going to lead you to a Super Bowl? He led a team to a Super Bowl, but most of that was a lot of the other players around him. But he wants to come back. You've been out of the league too long, man. Sorry, that's a long time to be out of the league. Take away all the other stuff that comes with it, all the other baggage. It's a long time. And when you did have opportunities, you chose to not show up or to do them on your terms at places that you wanted to dictate everything, and everybody else said, no.
To the teams that have questions, more than anything, I would say, I'd love to come in for a workout. I'd love to sit down with you and have that conversation about how I can help you be a better team.
Yeah. All that being said, you've got the USFL and the XFL, and I don't see him on either of those leagues' rosters anywhere. Wonder why? He's a name. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
New York City. It's pretty big, right? pretty big city. You look at it and you're like, whoa, that's a lot of people. It's a ton of people. It is. Los Angeles, big, large groups of people. New York City has 29 million people. All right. If you take in all of the other things outside there, but in the metro, it's got 20 million total. They're like, that's big. Shanghai has 26 million people, and you can't go outdoors. Think about that for a second. Because of COVID. Because the dream of zero COVID is real for the Chinese. And it is exactly that, a dream. It is a dream. By the way, they've had no deaths, apparently. I saw that the other day. The spikes are big, and they've had 0 deaths. Nobody dies there. But 0 is their dream, and it's not going to change. He is trying to figure it out, Xi, how he goes about doing this without destroying parts of his economy, which were already starting to struggle and falter. On top of that, how to go about doing this where the uprising isn't big, and he doesn't seem to see a lot of deaths, which he knows will eventually get out. And they're worried people are going to starve to death because they can't get outside of their house. And if you've not seen the dog robot that goes down the street with a bullhorn on its back, and then they've got drones flying around, all shouting out instructions of what to do, what not to do, how to stay indoors. It's crazy. It is. It's crazy. But this is where we are right now. And China's hopes that they can quell it, and then they could essentially get everybody back out there. Again, with no deaths, or very few. I don't think it's going to happen the way they think, but we'll see. The other side of the world, their buddies, Russia, doing everything they can to fight, and then fight, and invading and killing and destroying people. It hasn't gone the way they thought it was going to go.
Putin wanted to encircle the capital to bring down the government, to put in its own puppet government. That plan has failed. So time for Plan B. Plan B involves the shifting of troops over to the east, to the Donbass region.
And that's where they're going, the Donbass region. We've had Mike Lyons on numerous occasions here as our military analyst. We'll probably have him on tomorrow. And he has said from the beginning that Donbass is most important, getting essentially a bridge that will take them to Crimea. So they have their port there, because that is the only warm weather port they have, warm water port they have, in particular for their subs and things of that nature. This would be huge for them. So you've got to move to the east, because Kyiv, right now, it shit ain't happening. It isn't. They're like, man, this ain't happening. Said that. Listen to Zelensky. I'm gonna tell you guys what he says, because I speak a little bit of Zelensky. These guys came here to try to destroy us. We kicked them in the ground, and then we double kicked them in the ground. Now let's get medieval on them. They are stupid, and they smell like goat cheese. And I think they're a bunch of a-holes. Let's kick him in the ground. Sounds something like that. A little bit. It's going to get ugly. It is going to get ugly. They are going to lay people out. That's their modus operandi. That's it. Is to go and destroy. They brought in a guy who is as awful as you would think it could be, and he could be, based on the things he's done in the past as a commander. And now Plan B is to destroy. And they're saying tens of thousands of people in Mariupol are dead. I said last week, the mayor said 5,000 that we know of. I said, don't be surprised if it's not 10 or 15, if not more. The people that are escaping are talking about the horrors of rape, pillaging, killing, that family members that are alive are feeding off their pets and anything they can catch. This is the nightmare that they have brought into Ukraine, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. And still wondering, as we were talking about, NATO is thinking about bringing in, they've offered the olive branch, if you will, to, Sweden and Finland, and already Russia's come out and threatened them. Don't do it. Which makes you think, well, why not? You just invaded somebody who's not in NATO. Now you're telling us don't join NATO or else we'll invade you. Makes you think we should join NATO. And you're not opening up two fronts. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. I don't know what's weirder, more bizarre than this. This is Mayorkas, Department of Homeland Security. Well, you guys to listen to this.
And that is what it is all about. It is all about achieving equity, which is really the core founding principle of our country. And as we continue to review the policies and make the changes that drive to achieve equity, we have to be very mindful of the landscape on which we are working.
All right. So that's him talking about equity. Well, why does it matter? Because he's in charge of the border, essentially. So he's talking about equity, people coming through the border, how we do equity is the most important thing. I don't even know how you come up with that, but those are the buzzwords, right? Equality, equity, those kind of things are buzzwords that people hit over and over again because they think magically somehow this thing is going to play out correctly. Now, if you want crazy, and that feels a little crazy, this is crazy.
All right, so something that's really cool and unique about who I am is that I am transgender. So we touched a little bit about that at the beginning of this week in the book that Miss Hammond read, but I'm going to give you my explanation about what it means to be trans.
First of all, what book did you guys read? Why are you reading books to kids about transgender? I'm curious. Oh, that's right. You're in first grade. That doesn't need to happen. Sorry. By the way, straight sex, any sex, all sex, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. When you start to get towards middle school, you can talk about some stuff. But those things don't need to be talked about. I'm sorry I interrupted you. She, him.
Transgender as well. So when babies are born, the doctor looks at them and they make a guess about whether the baby is a boy or a girl.
That is not true. That is not true based on, I don't know, hundreds of millions of years of stuff. Science, evolution. Nobody looks and goes, hey, is that a boy dog or a girl dog? I don't know. Why don't you ask it? Well, I'm not a vet, so I don't even know if it's a dog.
Based on what they look like. Most of the time, that guess is 100% correct. There are no issues whatsoever. But sometimes the doctor is wrong. The doctor makes an incorrect guess.
No, again, not wrong. From a biological standpoint, from a science standpoint, not from a mental standpoint, not from a belief standpoint, the doctor is correct. Are there some intersex? Yeah, but you're not going to find that out right then. But from a biological standpoint, from a science standpoint, I look and I say, oh, he's got twigs and berries. That's a boy. That's a male. That's a male. Okay? So I'm seeing that. It's a male. Or, oh, she's got a hoo-ha. That's a female. And by the way, he didn't assign that at birth. That didn't happen. That wasn't one of those things where he goes, all right, look, we got two. I did 5 women today had kids, and 4 of them were boys. We cannot have another boy. We have to figure out a way to sign female to the next one. It doesn't work that way.
When the doctor makes a correct guess, that's when a person is called cisgender. When a doctor's guess is wrong, that's when they are transgender. So I'm a man, but when I was a baby, the doctors told my parents I was a girl. And so my parents gave me a name that girls typically have and bought me clothes that girls typically wear. And until I was 18 years old, everyone thought I was a girl.
Really? And now? No, now we don't know now, actually, right? And let me tell you something. You said that it kind of goes two ways. That's not true. You can have like 800 genders nowadays. Well, no, you can really only have 2 genders, but you could believe to be 8,000 genders. Oh, okay.
And this was super, super uncomfortable for me because I knew that wasn't right. The way I like to describe it is like wearing a super itchy sweater. The longer you wear it, the itchier it gets, and the only way to make the itching stop is to have everyone see and know the person that you really are. So when I was 18, I told my family and my friends that I'm really a boy, and it was like this huge weight had been lifted off of my shoulders, and I had the freedom to be who I truly am. And even though this experience is super challenging sometimes, it made me the person I am, and I'm super proud to be transgender.
Now, for me, knock yourself out. 0 problems with it. Don't be talking to my kids about that. Let kids be kids. Let children be children. We get mad at Florida. They got the Don't Say Gay bill. First of all, it doesn't say anything like that. So, secondly, let kids be kids. Their curiosity will peak at some point in time, and they'll ask questions. But that's it. You let them come. Age appropriate. You know, yesterday, Scotty Scheffler won the Masters, right? So it's a guy who hasn't won anything until this year. Last year, he got on the Ryder Cup team, and he said it gave him all the confidence in the world. He could play with the best. You know, this is us versus Europe. And then he's gone out and he's won 4 of the last 6. He said, you know what? Golf is something I do, but it's not who I am. For so many people that live in this world of isms, that's all that they are. They identify as something, and that is all they want to be, and that is all they want you to see. You could be an awful person. You could be an amazing person. You could be a jerk or a kind person. None of it matters. All they want you to see is, do you see that this is me? And that's all I am. I don't have brothers or sisters. I don't have I don't have parents. I don't have a career. I have nothing. This is what I am. And because for many of them, they've been so celebrated for their bravery that that's all it could be. But this is insane. And again, you're teaching second graders, first graders, and kindergartners. They don't need to hear this stuff. They don't need to read books or have books read by other transgender people. Knock yourself out. Be happy who you are. They also don't need to hear stories about their teacher getting it on with their husband or wives. They don't need any of that. They need to learn how to read. And if you've seen some of the scores in America, we're not doing a good job there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Eden Pure. Oh, it's pure indeed. Eden Pure is amazing. So I got a new office space that I'll be moving into so I can do my show closer to home on the weekdays for my first show because I do so many radio shows. And it kind of smelled. So, got the, old person moved out, new people in there, me. We put in our Eden Pure. Boom. Smells delicious. Incredible. Now, it's the Thunderstorm Air Purifier, and within moments, you will smell the difference, as I like to say. So the OxyLeaf 2 Thunderstorm, right now, 3 units, $200 savings. Use code CHAD3. 150,000 units sold. Floor space, none. Plug it right into the wall. No filters needed. Floor space, 0. Super quiet. No filters needed. Destroys viruses, odors, mold, so much more in seconds. Right now, save $200 on the Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack. Get full coverage for your kitchen, office, bedroom, anywhere you want to get rid of odors. Go to EdenPureDeals.com, put in discount code CHAD3 to save $200. That's Eden Pure Deals, discount code CHAD3. EdenPureDeals.com, discount code CHAD3. Shipping is free. EdenPureDeals.com, discount code CHAD3. Chad Benson Show.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Vehicle versus pedestrian, 595 westbound.
The 24-year-old was hit and killed by a dump truck Saturday morning on Interstate 595 near the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood Airport. A witness leaving the airport reportedly called 911 after seeing Haskins walking halfway into the right lane of the highway.
Not conscious, not breathing at this time.
Authorities say it's unclear why Haskins was walking on the highway at 6:30 in the morning or where he was coming from. Police only saying they're investigating the accident as a traffic homicide.
Yeah, now I don't know if somebody was drinking that was driving. I don't know what, but the first thing that came to my mind that early in the morning, he's a football player. He was a first-round pick, I think, 3 years ago by the Washington then Redskins, now Commanders. Both names, awful. And he flamed out. After 2 years, they let him go. They ate all the money they still owed him. He ended up being a backup quarterback in Pittsburgh. But the first thing that came to my mind is, did he step out into traffic? Did that happen?
Vehicle versus pedestrian, 595 westbound.
So think about that. You get that call in the morning. You hear that. You're like, okay, there's been an accident. You're going over there. A dump truck hit a guy. A football player, 6:30 in the morning on a Sunday, who was walking kind of into traffic? Sad. It's sad. Now, again, we don't know. Maybe the guy that hit him or gal was drunk. Maybe it just was an absolute accident, which is always a possibility. But it just felt weird. It did. It just felt kind of odd. And we'll find out in the coming days and weeks, but only 24 years old. And took his opportunity at Ohio State. 1 year, played like he was on fire, like nobody could stop him. And from there, parlayed that into a first-round pick, but never panned out, ever. Just struggled the whole way. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. I do. You can check us out on the old gram. That's what the kids call it nowadays. We should probably do a TikTok as well, because I want the Chinese to spy on me, because I want to say, Chinese people, you guys are oppressed, but you don't know it. I don't think that'll get through them. Probably not, but at least I'm trying. I'm making the old college effort, as the kids would say. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The border is getting ugly. I think we know that. Title 42 is going to go away. The right thing to do is to eliminate Title 42, which is the pandemic era executive order that's out there, or bill that was whatever the hell it was that came with Trump. But it essentially says, hey, and I'm breaking out, surmising it. Pandemic. People can't come over the border willy-nilly. You have to turn around and stay in Mexico or go home because, well, we can't allow this to happen in our country. Pretty much a smart thing to do. Racist, except for the part where it was needed. When the Democrats decided, hey, we should keep this thing here. And Biden has gone and done that up until now. He's going to let it expire, which is the right thing to do. The problem is the person running the border is the wrong person to run the border. Well, let me rephrase that. Nobody is running the border, but the person that should be running the border is the wrong person, and that is Biden. Governor Abbott of Texas, not thrilled.
One thing that we all need to come to grips with is this fundamental reality, and that is what is going on the border today is different than has ever been in our adult lives.
Absolutely. It is not even close. Now, I'm a few hours away from Yuma, and I go to Yuma quite often. I've been down to the border at Yuma. I've been to McAllen. Shout out to my people like, what's up, Sergio and everybody? When we were out with Sergio, God, it was like 4 years ago out there in McAllen. Man, when they took us to the border, the Rio Grande, we went around with everybody there, and it was insane. It was insane. Now it is totally different. It is 10 times worse. There was an effort to try to do something, and now there is zero effort. And it's hard to have an effort that you think will actually stop people from coming here, any laws, when you have the guy that's running it, if you will, or being the head of DHS, which is dealing with the border, because as we all know, Kamala is supposed to be dealing with, that's the vice president, and well, she's Kamala Harris. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, there's not a lot you can say, about Kamala other than
it is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day.
And they are doing what they've been doing every single day, and that is nothing. So Mayorkas is supposed to be handling everything. He was out here at Yuma, promised Doug Nichols, the mayor of Yuma, that he was going to do all of these things, and they were going to work hard. The Border Patrol, some of them were down there. They turned their backs on him. They're not happy about it. They got in his face. And maybe some of the ways they handled it wasn't right, but that's frustration, and it's rightly so. So what's he do? He comes out and wants to talk about those magical words, equity.
And that is what it is all about. It is all about achieving equity, which is really the core founding principle of our country. And as we continue to review the policies and make the changes that drive to achieve equity, we have to be very mindful of the landscape on which we are working.
Equity. Equity. It's what it's about, kids. It's about equity. You guys getting that? And exactly how would equity be put out here? I'm curious, right? Because Title 42 is going away. Trump era protection, based on the CDC's recommendation that people should not come here during a pandemic, that's going away. Rightly so. We're now in an endemic world, not a pandemic world. But on the other side of that, your plan has been to allow as many people to come through as possible, to ignore the remain in Mexico policy, even when it went through the Supreme Court and they upheld it, because your goal is to do what? Well, potentially have as many voters as possible in the future that'll vote Democratic, which if you're watching the numbers, the Latino community, the Hispanic community, whatever, they're not as liberal as you think. They're escaping many places where liberal ideology has destroyed their country. Cheap labor, Republicans, you've enjoyed the fact that your cronies and buddies got cheap labor for years and years and years and years and years. The plan will not be perfect because no plan is perfect. But the failure to plan will definitely be the worst. And when you have equity being the most important thing, well,
we are working at a time when we are seeing only an increase in hate. And what we in the Department of Homeland Security have assessed is that the greatest terrorism-related threat that we face in the homeland is the threat of domestic violent extremism. Individuals drawn to violence because of ideologies of hate or false narratives propagated on social media.
I can't listen to whatever it is you're saying. It's awful. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. You're not making sense. So you're going to focus, you're not at the border, not at the crunch that's going on here, not at the nightmare that is taking place there, not to the detriment of the cities and towns around there who are facing influxes of people that they cannot handle. No, it's to go out and chase the boogeyman around every corner, which is, it's all about, well, it's the white people. They're evil and they're bad. And every one of them's a Nazi and a Klan member. And I'm always like, well, show me all the bad stuff. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying there's not bad things in the past. I think we can all agree on that. Our past is very checkered. Get no argument here. But the reality is, this isn't about whether or not the people coming through are evil and bad, because I think we can all agree about 95% of them have good intentions to come here. They want the opportunity to work, to live their life. But we have rules, and we've set those rules up. And by not following that rules, what does that say? What does that say? It says pick and choose how you feel. Pick and choose the rules you want to follow. Pick and choose the things that you want to do. Is that what it is? Because that's what it feels like at this point. And you guys are choosing and picking not to follow any rules whatsoever at the border. It's a joke. Again, this isn't about the people that are coming over. Stop making it about them. Let's make it about the fact that we have a border and you're not doing your job. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. It's another phase in the war. It is an ugly phase as the shift is moving from one area to another area. And this shift is going to be ugly, and it's going to be big, and it's going to get nasty soon.
What we're seeing is massive amounts of Russian forces moving east. Satellite imagery on social media as well. People who live in those regions have captured columns, endless columns of armor, tanks, artillery, vehicles, etc., moving east. Could take a while. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but it's clear that that's what Russia wants to do.
Yeah. That's exactly what they want to do. They want to focus elsewhere. Place that Mike Lyons, our military analyst, has said on numerous occasions, is simply they've got their eyes on a prize that they probably wanted all along, and that they thought that maybe they could take a lot more than they did. And then they realized the pushback, when people are fighting with their backs against the walls, they don't fight like, I think they thought they were going to roll over. I think a lot of people did. I think we all overestimated, myself included, that this vaunted Russian military machine was going to roll over Ukraine. And partly because Ukraine didn't seem to really pay that much attention to it until everything took off. They weren't paying the kind of attention you thought. I mean, up until they weren't there like, you're not going to attack us. Then it started to get really serious. And by then they were just a few weeks out. But like a honey badger, like a wolverine, they were backed up against the wall. And lo and behold, they fight like a honey badger and a wolverine. Putin has the one thing that Ukraine just doesn't have, though. That's the manpower. That's the numbers game. And the numbers game is simply this. It's like it's a never ending, no matter how many bullets you have, we have 2 extra people.
Putin wanted to encircle the capital to bring down the government, to put in its own puppet government. That plan has failed. So time for Plan B. Plan B involves the shifting of troops over to the east, to the Donbass region.
Yeah. And that's the thing that Mike Lyons said they've always wanted, which is that land bridge all the way to Crimea and all the way to the ports. So that's where they're headed now. And how bad is it going to be? Figures coming out of places like Mariupol are unimaginable if you think about where they were a few months ago, and now that there's potentially tens and tens of thousands of dead people. It's terrifying. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. More on the insanity of our immigration policy. Tiger finished the Masters. How well did he do, or didn't he do? Talk about that. Some COVID stuff as well. And, of course, Inflation Nation. Right now I want to talk about something that's inflation good for you. It's called Rough Greens. Well, wait, what? Rough Greens is amazing. Vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omegas 3, 6, 9. It's an amazing thing for your dog to have. It goes right on top of your dog's food. It's a supplement. You don't have to change anything. You just sprinkle it on top of your dog's food and watch them go. I've been doing this for a very long time for my dog Doodle. He's alive and he's well. Guy writes in, Tim Hodge. Hey, Chad, longtime listener. Thank you. Well, you know that my Dachshund, it's a wiener dog, is doing amazing from taking Rough Greens. He recommended. His back went out 6 years ago. He's 9, and he's doing fine. Thank you. Don't thank me. Thanks, Rough Greens. Right now, you can try it before you buy it. All you have to do is go to ruffgreens.com/Chad, ruffgreens.com/Chad. Get a free bag. You cover the cost of shipping. Or call 833-MY-DOG-77, 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
I don't think people really understand. The people who are close to me understand if they've seen it. Some of the players who are close to me have seen it and have seen some of the pictures and the things that I've had to endure, and they appreciate it probably more than anyone else because they know what it takes to do this out here at this level.
Tiger Woods didn't have he had a great first 2 days. And then I think the stamina of not playing competitive golf and not walking. Tiger, you could blindfold him. And he is going to hit the ball time and time again. It's not about that. What it's about is the continual walking. And Masters, Augusta, very hilly, probably the most challenging course to walk in golf. Played great the first 2 days, was in the top 10, finally finished, ran out of steam, finished tied 46th. Yesterday and the day before, he just kind of imploded. I think he was 1 over, and the last 2 days he had been 12 over. But he got through it. And he made the cut when a lot of other people didn't. A lot of other people who are major winners. A lot of other people who are big time. Bryson DeChambeau. Absolutely. Did not make the cut. He's coming back from an injury. He played poorly. Tiger made the cut. You're like, oh, Brooks Koepka, Jordan Spieth. Both major winners. Both struggled. Sam Burns, been great. Who did win it? Just a mild-mannered cat who, well, just showed up day in and day out as the most unassuming character you'll ever meet. 25 years old. And talked about what it was like yesterday, waking up, knowing he is sleeping on the 54-hole tournament lead at the Masters with a 5-shot lead going into the final round.
This morning was a totally different story. I cried like a baby this morning. I was so stressed out. I didn't know what to do. I was sitting there. I was telling Meredith, I was like, I don't think I'm ready for this. You know, I'm not ready. I don't feel like I'm ready for this kind of stuff. And I just felt overwhelmed.
Yeah. Meredith's his wife, met her in high school. They dated all the way through 4 years of college, where he was a good player, not a great player. I mean, he was great, but he wasn't one of those guys who like, that guy's going to be no one player in the world. Played on the Korn Ferry Tour, which is the minor leagues, was the player of the year. Rookie of the year in his first year in the PGA. Made the Ryder Cup team. No victories. Then, this year, February, wins the Waste Management Open here in Phoenix. And from there, it's an explosion. He's won 4 of his last 6, including the Masters, which is life-changing, by the way. First of all, you get to be in the club. You get the green jacket. Every member, whether they're a PGA Pro or just a member, gets a green jacket. Can't take that away from you. You get that forever. You can show up and play every year forever. You can be 120. Sandy Lyle played this year. He wore suspenders because he's going to keep coming out and doing it because he won a long time ago. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool indeed. And he just doesn't care about the money or any of the stuff. That's different in a day and age when you see so many people chasing certain things. This guy just likes playing golf. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. What's TikTok brain? Talk about it. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
With all this talk of war and immigration, we forget that there's a nightmare happening with inflation. It's not getting any better. In fact, it's getting worse. People are worried, right? Because we hear those R words tossed around. Recession. If you're the administration, you have to figure out a way to position yourself. What's to blame it on Putin and anybody but you, especially in a time where we're heading into midterms?
So why is everybody upset about the economy? It's this number, 7.9%. When Biden took office, the inflation rate was sitting at 1.4%. But as we've been digging out from COVID, all this money thrown into the economy, we see what the inflation rate is doing. The question is it going to stop going up? Because this is why folks do not think this is a good economy.
No, they don't. And it doesn't seem to be getting any better anytime soon. Larry Summers also hanging out with Chuck Todd there in his sweet music, talking about that R word.
A recession, is it inevitable or is there a way to avoid it?
Nothing is inevitable or certain in economics. The painful fact, though, is that historically, when we've had inflation above 4 and we've had unemployment below 4, essentially always since World War II, that's been followed by a recession within the next 2 years.
Deutsche Bank, I think it was Bank of America, have all predicted there will be a recession coming sooner rather than later. Deutsche Bank expects a recession late fourth, early first quarter next year, and then similar thing in 2024. Now, this is not the recession that we saw where you look up and you see 2-3 quarters of contraction and struggles. This is not 2008, where there's 15-20% unemployment in some areas, 10% in others. This is 5% slowdown, no growth, things of that nature. That's what we're heading towards, especially if things stay here. Now, everything's subject to change. Something happens in Russia. There's a change of the regime. Russia puts somebody in place that the Europeans like. COVID disappears altogether in China in a way that is more manageable. They've locked down 29 million people in Shanghai. You don't think supply chains are a mess? Imagine what they're going to be like. Some of these areas they're locking down are areas where we depend upon certain electronic components. That's not good, right? We build back up our oil drilling in such a way that we become truly energy independent again. So things can change. Is that happening tomorrow? No. Larry Summers there, by the way, Democrat. They're going to get their ass handed to them this year. That's coming. It's just how bad will it be? And here, and I want you guys to take a couple notes here, if you would. Write this down, because I may forget it. But think about this for a second. Republicans are probably going to take back the House at the rate this is going. Good chance they're going to get back the Senate. Those things, do you realize the investigations that are going to come? Hunter Biden's going to get double, triple investigated. Biden's going to be investigated, and rightly so. Based on the things we've seen out of this laptop, which you weren't allowed to talk about, but you can, there's going to be serious questions asked, and these investigations are going to be big. Now, this is where the Republicans can overstep, and instead of doing things that need to be done, play political payback, which always happens. But this next 2 years, potentially for him, could be a nightmare like you couldn't believe. Not just a guy riding off into the sunset, not being able to get some of the stuff done he wants to get done, but truly an absolute nightmare for him. There's a lot that goes into this next several weeks and months as we lead up to this election cycle for midterms, which we normally have a situation where we have a bit of changing because you've got a party that has everything. We do that for 2 years, then we go, no. You got too much power. We're going to get some of this power back. But when you take in inflation, we're a pocketbook nation, you know that. The nightmare in Afghanistan and the way that we exited. The just absolute insanity of the culture clash that is going on with the left living in this world of, you know, if a potato wants to be a boy and you heard the potato say that, then the potato gets to be a boy. That's not true. You get what I'm going with this, though. It's not helping them at all. COVID and their overreaction at times. Yes, the Republicans at times underreacted, but their overreaction. And let's not forget immigration, which is a nightmare and is continuing to be so. And it's going to continue to get worse because we have an administration that's going to allow Title 42 to disappear, as they should, because it's endemic now, not pandemic. Title 42, Trump-era plan that went into place with the backing of the CDC that essentially says, hey, we've got a pandemic. You can't come here because we have a pandemic. Well, you're going to have a nightmare at the border. They're expecting God knows how many people at the border. It's funny, Jen Psaki was asked about it, right? She was asked about, what kind of plans you got there? You got any kind of plans at all?
Does the president have any plans to figure out what these small towns who are bracing for a major influx in migrants next month need by making his first ever trip to the border?
I have nothing to predict for you in terms of additional trips. The president will be traveling the country, but I don't have any more specifics for you at this point.
You have no specifics because you guys have no plan, so plan to fail, which means that America, we're going to have some really, really bad issues taking place along the border.
Property owners, ranchers, farmers, people whose property is on the border itself. They are going through catastrophic challenges.
Yeah. Abbott right there talking about it, governor. Is he going to send people to D.C.? Yeah, it's a gimmick. He's not sending anybody there. You have to volunteer to go there. Just let you guys know that. So you can't just put them on a bus and send them there. You have to volunteer, meaning they have to say, yeah, I'll go to D.C. Now, somebody may say, I would love to see the White House. If you guys could take me, that'd be fantastic. But, you know, it's that was more about a gimmick than anything else. But he's right. Talked to Doug Nichols. He's the mayor of Yuma. He said that all the stuff that they have promised him in the past, none of it's come true. Mayorkas being the promiser of promisers. And they're expecting an influx of a few thousand a day in a place where a couple hundred is a crunch. 10 times that is ridiculous. 18,000 a day is the latest prediction that could be potentially coming through. 18,000? That is not a win at all. Not a win. It's a failure. And this administration is leading that failure. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. My kids have this. It's called TikTok brain. If you don't know what TikTok brain is, I think most people have it nowadays, especially if you have any kind of electronics.
How is TikTok impacting your brain? Because a new study just came out, and they're talking about something called TikTok use disorder.
Oh, God, I have it.
Interfere with your daily life.
It does.
Or it could lead to withdrawal when you're not using it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a portion of that. But you know what else is? Everything is too long now. So if you go to see a movie, it's too long. If you go see, unless they're so into it, it's too long. Like, and it's everybody, right? We all sit down now. How many of us sit down to watch a show and we're also scrolling through the interwebs, right? We're scrolling through the interwebs and we're looking at TikTok or looking at Instagram, and we're also kind of watching the show, and then we'll go down a rabbit hole. We're like, oh, I like that actor. I like this actress. So many of us. We have an attention span that is short, and it's gotten shorter.
It turns out that people who have this disorder have higher levels of anxiety, stress, and depression. But more importantly, or most interesting, the study found that people who have TikTok use disorder have a lower working memory. So your working memory is like how much information your brain is able to hold at one time.
Of course, I want to get out of this hell.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have the TikTok brain. I know I can have it. I absolutely know. I could sit there and go, oh, yeah. I could totally see myself doing that. I could see myself not paying attention for very long on certain things, especially if it's not something that completely disinterests me. And I'm weird because I've, with all my ADHD, I can do 2-3 things at once, and I can pick up the conversation and do something here. And I know that could annoy some people. But if something's completely disinteresting and I've got my phone in front of me, I'm checking it. I'm on the gram, on TikTok. I'm checking out the news. I'm reading sports scores. Like yesterday. I golfed yesterday. But I also watched the Masters. I would take my phone with me to the tee as I'm watching the end of the Masters, and I knew what the outcome was, but I was still checking it. TikTok brain, baby. It's real. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Well, some more on what's going on over there in Ukraine as it is getting uglier. The potential for this thing to become a full-scale slaughter when it comes to the numbers of people that will be dying. I think it's becoming more and more evident that that's a possibility. Talk about that. A lot of other stuff still to squeeze in. Healthy Cell. Now you say to yourself, Chad, what's Healthy Cell? It's great. It's incredible. I've been taking Healthy Cell for quite a while, actually. And I'm loving every second of what I'm taking. So you gotta think about this for a second. So Healthy Cell is this incredible. So I've got 2 things that I take from them. First one is REM Sleep, which helps me sleep. So amazing. The second one is to help me focus, right? Focus and recall. And what both of them do is they're delivered in such a way, because all of us take supplements of some sort. It's ingestible gel. And you just tear it off, suck it, boom, away it goes. They describe it, and it's easily described, as the next generation of dietary supplements. All right? So if you take pills, it's time to get away from those. Take this stuff. Most of the studies will show you out there, if not all of them, that your body doesn't absorb the nutrients in pill form. They can be hard to swallow. Vitamins are gross. You know that. A waste of money. With this, because it's ingestible gel, soaks it up. It's incredible. I didn't take my REM Sleep the other day. I got horrible sleep. Didn't get any because I've been taking it, and it's amazing. I'm telling you guys right now, Healthy Cell is truly changing the way that things are being done. Now's your chance to try it. Try what I'm trying, but check out everything they have and save money as well. Journey to a better health begins with Healthy Cell. Go to healthycell.com/Chad. That's healthycell.com/Chad. Use promo code Chad for 20% off your first order. Again, try it. You will not be disappointed, especially if you have trouble sleeping or focusing. That's healthycell.com/Chad. Promo code Chad for 20% off your first order. Healthycell.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
The thing about offence, isn't it? When people say they're offended, it's that just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right. You know, offence is about feelings, and feelings are personal. So what? You know, so you can't second guess people. If you try and please everyone, you'll please no one. With comedy as well, I think you've got to deal with taboos and contentious issues, and sometimes you deal in irony, and some people don't get that. But you know, you can't legislate against stupidity, otherwise you'll be doing nothing. If you're saying anything, you should polarise. You should polarise because everyone's different.
I agree 110%. Ricky Gervais is, and the beginning of that, I want you guys to listen to the beginning of this, right? And this is something that young people in particular, and anybody who gets offended about stuff, and there's stuff that you should be offended by, but 99% of it anymore isn't stuff that's offense-worthy.
The thing about offence, isn't it? When people say they're offended, it's that just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right.
That right there is huge. Just because you're offended by something doesn't mean you are right. I think more people need to soak that up in today's world. Just because somebody said something, and we've said this for a long time on our show here, it's no longer what you say, it's how it's taken. And that changed the game. That changed the game of political correctness and the cancel culture stuff. That changed the game completely. But it still doesn't mean because you're offended by something that magically you're right. My feelings are hurt, so that makes me right. It doesn't work that way. In fact, more often than not, your feelings are hurt because somebody has pointed out something to you where you are in the wrong or where your belief doesn't match up with reality. So instead of going, well, I didn't realize that, or I didn't understand that, you decide to be offended and hurt, therefore making yourself a victim, therefore making people to go, oh. But I love that. And that's important because of Will Smith and what took place. Just because she was offended in a day and age of comedy where everybody's offended didn't give you the right to do what you did, Will Smith. Last Friday, he got his comeuppance as much as you can get in the world of acting.
Will Smith's punishment for slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars?
Oh, wow!
A 10-year ban from any events put on by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. That includes the Oscars. The Academy Board of Governors met Friday to finalize the consequences after Will Smith resigned his membership in the Academy last week. A letter from Academy President David Rubin and CEO Don Hudson says they hope the move will help restore trust in the Academy and begin a time of healing.
First of all, healing from what? I don't know about you, but the slap took place. I didn't get hurt. Did you get hurt? The person that got hurt and embarrassed was Chris Rock. Person who should be embarrassed, who's gone into therapy now or whatever you do now, whatever therapy there is that you have to go into this is Will Smith. And the person who should go to therapy is Jada Pinkett. Man, you heard the way she talks to him at times? He's like, look, I had to slap you or she was going to slap me, and I was just sick and tired of it. Just crazy, man. I'm telling you, that took place. But 10 years, is that enough? I mean, I don't know. I think his punishment should have been, you got to host it every year. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Solid fun Monday. Got through the day as we always do, because that's what we do. We promise you we're going to get you through the day. We're going to have fun doing it. Talked about a lot of different stuff. We'll have more tomorrow, I'm sure, of what's going on in Ukraine. The nightmare that is about to come as they get ready to bombard the eastern portion of it. Can they get that bridge that they want? And at what cost for not only the Ukrainians, but the Russians? Talk to hopefully Mike Lyons tomorrow, military analyst, because it is about to get, I think, even uglier if that's possible. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Have a great rest of your Monday. Started the week off good. Night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.